You
It's
want
going to be a
me?
Sunday morning game, 10
10
a.m.
o'clock for them, going across
Niners on the
country,
road.
and they both will have had a bye, and this other team has won 5 in a row. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do a translation from the Yiddish, what my mother
Mm-hmm.
would have said. I should pick the Niners?
Yeah.
I should pick the Niners in a game like that? No. I mean, the other team won 5 in a row. They lost 3 in a row. My attitude is very clear about the Niners. When they were on a winning streak, I picked them every time. Now they're on a losing streak. They lost that quarterback in Cleveland. I'm picking against them every game until they win.
Yeah.
I feel that against Minnesota, it was not a good team, particularly. They couldn't
Mm-hmm.
beat Minnesota. They couldn't beat that PJ Walker from Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
They should beat Trevor Lawrence. No, I'm not going to pick them. I'm not good at scores. I'm picking Jacksonville. Until further notice, I'm picking the opponent.
I agree. And I don't think Niner fans realize what Jacksonville is. Like, their defense is good. I'm looking at them right now. They've given up more than 24 points only once this season. They give up 37 to Houston. Not sure how that happened. That was week 3. Since then, they haven't lost. They held the Kansas City Chiefs to 17 points. They
Whoa.
held the Bills to 20 points. 2 weeks ago, they held the Steelers to 10 points. This is a really good defense that's really good against the run. They're giving up 3.6 yards per carry this season. That's 4th best. So this is a team that is sort of built to shut down what the Niners do on offense. And they have a quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, who statistically gets the ball out of his hands as quick as any quarterback in the league. So once again, it's going to be tough for Chase Young and Nick Bosa and these guys to make an impact. And apparently,
yes.
Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in the league against zone coverage, even better than Joe Burrow, statistically.
Also,
so if Steve Wilkes tries
Purdy
to
is
play
good.
that, go ahead.
Purdy is good against zone as well.
Absolutely. So we'll see about that. But if Joe Burrow could do what he did against the Niners zone, Trevor Lawrence could do it too. They might need to play a little bit more man-to-man coverage this week. Let's see if Steve Wilkes has the guts.
Or the players.
That's the thing. When you play man-to-man coverage, it's like you're asking Charvarius Ward to hold and grab and commit an automatic first down penalty, and it's tough.
I want to add something, Iggy. We've both picked against the Niners. This is a Niner channel, and a lot of this stuff is going to go on si.com on your feed there, and that's, again, Niner fans. So I want to say something. We are not taking any pleasure in picking against the Niners. And if they win, I'll applaud them.
Yeah,
because it's a big
deal.
game and they rose up. I'm only giving my honest opinion as an observer. So please don't write in, we're haters, because I don't hate the 49ers. I'd be just as happy for them to win. We're not haters. And a lot of people write, I could see where your son gets it from. You're so negative. We're not being negative. We're being analytical. Negative would be, I hate the 49ers. I hope they lose. We're not like that. We don't feel that way at all. I'd be just as happy for them to win or lose. I'm an observer. So we're not haters, but based on what's happened the last 3 games, it's very hard to pick them against a reasonably good team. And we'd be foolhardy to try to please you to not tell the truth as we understand it.
That's right. And I'm looking at a defense that gave up 17 to the Chiefs and 20 to the Bills. And the Niners have scored 17 points 3 games in a row. Yeah, Deebo Samuel's coming back and Trent Williams is coming back, but this defense is good that they're facing. They stopped the run. I'm thinking the Niners scored 20 in this game. And then given what their defense has been doing, I think it's unlikely that they'll give up fewer than 24. So I'm picking Jaguars 24, Niners 20.
24-20. Iggy, I have one question about Deebo. When he really came into his own a few years ago, they lined him up in the backfield. Can they do that a lot now, or has that been figured out?
Well, I feel like what they were doing has kind of got figured out, and you would need a really creative coach to sort of stay one step ahead. I have a feeling if Deebo Samuel were on, say, let me pick a team randomly, Miami. If he were on the Dolphins, I think he'd be really good. And that year that he was an All-Pro, Mike McDaniel was the offensive coordinator. I think you need someone really, really creative to get the most out of him. And I'm starting to question how creative Kyle Shanahan is really. I'm starting to look at him more like Sean McVay, who seemed like an offensive genius for a time, but really was just as good as his assistant coaches. He was a product of his assistant coaches to a large degree.
Well, so what you're saying is it would be a little hard for them to get a lot out of Debo the way they did when he was really hot. What they'd have to do is get him screen passes, short passes at near the line, and get some blocking. And then once he's in the open field, he's phenomenal. He is. He's fast. He's strong, and he's exciting. But they're having fewer opportunities to get him there.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if Mike McDaniel were here, he were the coach instead of Kyle Shanahan, you'd have so many plays where you had Debo Samuel going one direction and Christian McCaffrey going another. Christian McCaffrey running to the left and Debo Samuel coming around and end around to the right. And you constantly have the two most dangerous players going different directions, and defenses is like,
yeah.
You don't see that kind of stuff with the Niners anymore. When you watch the Dolphins, who aren't the greatest team in the world, but they are very creative, you just always see Mike McDaniel leveraging his fastest players, going different directions and stressing defenses out that way. I don't think you see that with the Niners as much.
I would have to point out that a theme that you have in our broadcast today is you're a little skeptical and down on Shanahan.
The offensive coordinator. He got so much credit for being an offensive genius and being so creative. Like, it's not there. It wasn't there last year. They traded for Christian McCaffrey. Everything changed. But now that Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey are getting figured out a little bit, that there's just a full season's worth of tape on them, they're right back to 17 points a game with a lot of talent on this team. And I don't know. It like people say, why isn't Debo Samuel producing the way he used to? Well, is it because he got paid? Does he not care as much anymore? Maybe it's because the guy who got him paid is in Miami now. How about that?
If the Niners win on the road and score 30 or more points, will you praise them?
Absolutely. I won't minimize that. After all I've said, all bye week and today, no, I got to praise them.
Got to praise them. And, one other thing, and then even if they win by a point, and this is, a win is a win. Even if they win ugly, even if they win on a freak play, a win is a win. And there is a complete difference between a win and a loss. There is no such thing as a good loss, and there is no such thing as a bad win, unless, of course, you lose your quarterback or somebody significant gets hurt. But ruling that out, there is no such thing as a bad win. And that's what makes sports so simple and so blunt.
Also, I mean, the Niners really have only won one way this year. They get a lead early, they cruise. Yeah. If they could actually find a new way to beat Jacksonville, that would be almost more meaningful. Coming from behind.
Behind, and they've really not shown the ability to come from behind. They're much more comfortable leading early. That's, again, on Kyle, because, teams have to come from behind. Right. Bill Walsh had to come from behind in Super Bowls. You have to come from behind. And if you can't do it, you got a big problem.
Right. If you can only win one way, you're not going to win a Super Bowl because everything isn't going to go according to plan 20 times in a row.
It's funny. Bill Walsh once told me that. He said, if you can only win one way, you got a problem. He said, like, there are some teams that beat you by strength and power. Mm-hmm. They beat you up at the line of scrimmage. They hurt you. What if they play a team that's stronger? Mm-hmm. So they're just going to lose because the other team can beat them up? He said you have to have another way to win. And if you don't, you lose.
Yeah.
So the Niners need another way to win.
They have one way to win. And that's why they lost the last few. They fell behind. They got to show that they can win other ways. Yeah.
Interesting.
So maybe that'll be this week. If it is, it'll be a big deal. Ryan Kessler, $2. Thank you, Ryan Kessler. Again, $5. Why is Kyle still committed to getting Elijah carries? Give those to Jordan Mason instead, please. I don't know. If he keeps doing that after the bye week, you'd really have to wonder what exactly he looked at. Ramon Clark says the second half makes and breaks teams. We need to see what we have. Someone tell Max Skinny the Hawks are dumpster juice. Have a good day, fellas. Okay. Thanks, Ramon Clark. I don't understand. Chris Tellerico says it's pronounced like Rico in Puerto Rico. Tellerico. Enrico Suave. All right. Chris Tellerico. Niners win ugly this week. Niners have somehow developed a trend of being able to win regular season games they need to win in order to play in January.
Fair enough.
They need to win this game.
Tellerico. I'm
Tellerico.
trying.
I've been saying it wrong for a long time, Chris. I'm really sorry.